Before Serena arrived in the village last month, she found Charity Dingle by a lake, overwhelmed by the secrets she was carrying about Doctor Caitlin Todd and baby Layla. Showing compassion, Serena encouraged Charity to report Caitlin's blackmail to the police, convincing her it was the right decision. After they said their goodbyes, Serena climbed into her car and entered directions to Emmerdale on her phone. Since then, Serena has reunited with her distant cousin Robert and Sarah Sugden, while also settling into village life and getting to know the local residents. However, one villager appears to recognize her from somewhere. Outside the pub last week, Kev Townsend spotted Serena and was convinced he had seen her before, although he couldn't immediately remember where. Serena insisted they had never met before and quickly headed inside, but Kev couldn't shake his suspicions. Later, during another encounter at the Woolpack, Kev claimed he had finally remembered where he knew Serena from. He insisted she had once worked as a prison officer. Serena firmly denied the accusation and politely asked Kev not to bring the subject up again. Now that Serena has accepted Robert's invitation to make Emmerdale Farm her permanent home, avoiding Kev is likely to become increasingly difficult. The situation is complicated by Kev's own history of dishonesty. When he first arrived in the village, he was exposed for lying to Robert about his health, raising doubts about whether his latest claims can be trusted. Why would Kev invent a story about Serena if it isn't true? So, is Kev genuinely telling the truth, or do the pair actually know each other from an entirely different chapter of their lives? Charity Dingle will face a life-threatening ordeal in next week's Emmerdale after what should have been a father and son camping trip takes a devastating turn. Hoping to reconnect with Kyle Winchester, Kane heads into the countryside, but rising tensions lead to a shocking accident that leaves him trapped beneath a fallen tree after tumbling down a hillside. A source from the soap explained, "The camping trip is supposed to help Kane and Kyle rebuild their relationship, but instead, it ends with Kane stranded and fighting for his life." Ever since Kane's cancer diagnosis, his bond with Kyle has become increasingly strained. Both have struggled to cope with everything that has happened, making the getaway seem like the perfect chance to spend some quality time together. Unfortunately, events quickly spiral out of control. Kane is also carrying the emotional burden of Monty, the Dingle family's much-loved dog, being diagnosed with cancer. Although Paddy Dingle warns that Monty is too unwell for treatment, Kane refuses to give up hope and begins searching for another vet, wondering if radiotherapy could offer the dog the same chance it has given many people. As Kane becomes consumed by Monty's worsening condition, he neglects both his own recovery and his relationships with Moira and Kyle. When specialists confirm that Monty's tumours cannot be operated on, Kane is left heartbroken. His focus remains entirely on the family pet, leaving him unaware that Kyle is struggling with life at the Army Cadets, until someone finally points it out. According to an insider, Moira believes Kane has lost sight of what really matters. She feels he is shutting everyone out, while Kyle is becoming increasingly hurt by his father's distance. In an effort to repair the damage, Kane suggests taking Kyle on a camping trip. However, his motives are not entirely selfless, as he is also hoping to escape difficult conversations with Moira about his fears for the future. His mood worsens when Kyle asks if Graham Foster can join them. Graham has become an important mentor to Kyle since encouraging him to sign up for the Army Cadets. Kane struggles to hide his jealousy, resenting the growing bond between Graham and his son, and feeling as though another man is taking his place. Although the three set off together, the atmosphere is uncomfortable from the beginning. Kane becomes increasingly irritated by Graham and Kyle's closeness, and before long, he lashes out at Graham. Kyle immediately defends his mentor, leading to another heated confrontation with his father. Frustrated and angry, Kane storms away on his own, leaving Graham and Kyle to continue without him. Moments later, disaster strikes. As darkness begins to fall, Kane loses his footing and plunges down a steep hillside. His leg becomes trapped beneath a heavy log, leaving him unable to escape. Alone, injured, and with night closing in, Kane has no way of calling for help while nobody knows where he is. Next week brings more twists, hidden truths, and fresh drama to Emmerdale as Serena opens up to Robert about John. Charity connects with another victim of Doctor Caitlin Todd, and Kev finds himself haunted by someone from his past. The village has recently been rocked by a series of emotional storylines. Charity finally confessed to Mackenzie Boyd about Dr. Todd's sexual assault, the blackmail she endured, and the truth about baby Layla's real parentage. Viewers also saw a flash-forward revealing Dr. Todd's lifeless body, but the circumstances surrounding her death remain a mystery, leaving everyone wondering who is responsible. Elsewhere, Kev has been trying to prove he has turned his life around in the hope of building a relationship with his son Lewis. However, his efforts were tested after Ross Barton and Nicola King framed him for stealing from the cafe, pushing his patience to the limit. At Home Farm, Kim Tate discovers that someone has broken into the property while carrying a shotgun. She orders Ross to investigate the incident and hands him a list of possible suspects. Ross immediately gets off to the wrong start by accusing Moira, who quickly throws him out. He then points the finger at Robert, leading to a furious confrontation with Aaron before Serena steps in to calm the situation. After Ross leaves, Serena takes the chance to tell Robert the full story about John. Her explanation is enough to convince Robert that she deserves to stay, even though Aaron still has doubts. Meanwhile, Kim realizes the intruder's real target was a USB stick that has now disappeared. With Robert still recovering from his injuries, Aaron offers Serena a job at the farm. Before long, Serena deliberately creates an opportunity to cross paths with Ross again. Ross believes she is interested in him, but Serena's true intentions remain unclear. Charity is devastated when she learns that the CPS will not be taking legal action against Dr. Todd because there is not enough evidence. Refusing to let Todd escape justice, Mackenzie and Vanessa begin searching for previous complaints that may have been made against her at the hospital. Vanessa and Jacob secretly meet with HR representative Carol in the hope of uncovering new information. When Charity learns what they are doing, she confronts Vanessa, but instead comes face-to-face with Helen, another woman who says she was harmed by Dr. Todd. Helen initially refuses to speak, but after Charity bravely reveals that Todd raped her, Helen appears deeply affected. Could Helen finally provide the evidence Charity desperately needs? Meanwhile, Claudette persuades Kev not to walk away from his job at the cafe. Nicola, who was quietly pleased he had resigned, tries convincing Vinny, Mandy and Lewis that everyone is better off without him there. Their plans are thrown into disarray when Kev unexpectedly asks for his job back. As Lewis's birthday approaches, Kev attempts to make up for the years they have lost by showering his son with presents. His enthusiasm makes Lewis uncomfortable, leaving Ross worried about how the relationship is developing. Kev's anxiety grows even further when an old friend named Steve suddenly arrives in the village, forcing Kev to warn him not to ruin the new life he is trying to build. Elsewhere, Charity Dingle refuses to give up hope for Monty's recovery and seeks another veterinary opinion, believing the radiotherapy helping him could also save the beloved dog. His determination to help Monty leaves him emotionally distant from both Moira and Kyle. Kyle is having a difficult time at the Army Cadets, but because Kane continues to dismiss its importance, the youngster feels unable to ask his father for support. Moira also struggles to get through to Kane, especially as she tries to prepare him for the possibility that Monty may not recover. When specialists confirm that Monty's tumours cannot be operated on, Kane is left devastated. Wanting to avoid another difficult conversation with Moira, he suggests taking Kyle on a camping trip. However, his mood quickly darkens after Kyle invites Graham Foster to join them. Emmerdale airs on weeknights at 8 p.m. on ITV1, with each episode available to stream from 7 a.m. on ITVX and YouTube.